Because men care about a woman's past, women care about a man's future. And there was, no way that I would feel comfortable wifing up that girl. That's just me. So I always say this to girls, because we've had OnlyFans girls on the show. I say, once you've done it, the internet wins. The internet is forever.
Yeah.
Like, own it, do it.
Yeah.
But just know that it might be a challenge to find that future husband. Because after doing this show for so long, I know that most women want the full package guy, right? The hypergamy sexual market value charts is 80% of women are going over the top 10, 20% of the men. They want a guy that makes 6 figures and then some. They want a guy 6 foot. They want a guy with a good personality. They want a guy that's cool, that's funny, that's smart, that is nice to grandma, but also rough in the bedroom, earmuffs. They also want, a guy who'll take care of the, like, they all want all these guys. And those guys, comes down to supply and demand, are like, yeah, you're hot, but you did OnlyFans. Like, all right, you're a traditional woman, but you're kind of fake. Like, men kind of have that selection. So my only thing for women is, if you do this path, more power to you. Just know what comes at the end of something like this. Zuby, you give a lot of political thought, a lot of societal thought.
Man, I've had so many
Wrap
thoughts
this all
through
up for us,
thing.
brother.
Well, look, I can approach this from different angles. I think, first of all, people need to not be delusional. Actions have consequences.
Of course.
And there's a difference between the idealism of thinking, oh, I think, there can be a guy who's 5'6", and he's making $30K a year, and he's not particularly good looking or well dressed or whatever. And he may think in his ideal, hey, I want a woman who's looks like a supermodel and can cook like a professional chef, and she's a wonderful mother, and this and this, right? Like, he can have his whole ideal thing, but it's like, bro, don't be delusional. You have to be realistic. It's not even saying it's completely impossible to get that. So I would just say to any young woman who's doing this or is thinking about it, and I'm not trying to put this on anyone personally, is just realize, be honest about yourself about what the potential consequences of this are, because they are real. And you could say, well, I don't think a man should care about this or whatever. But if you want a guy who's even got, the truth is, look, something very obvious. If you want a guy with a more traditional mindset and the type of guy who's going to want to be more of a protector and a provider and not want to be going Dutch on everything and all that, those are more conservative values. Those are more conservative type of men who have that mentality. Right? If you want a guy who's not going to care about any of this stuff, and it's going to conflate with the same type of guy who also is going to probably display a lot of the qualities that you are not aiming for, right? I don't even just mean this in a hard political sense. So I think people just need to be very, very, very honest about this. Again, it's not a cat you can put back in the bag. What I did really want to say, and it's totally cool if you want to move on to a different topic, but I think what's actually a lot more interesting than getting lost in the morality and even the consequences of this is just to think about what's going on in our wider society and culture that's even creating this dynamic on both ends. I'm not confused by why women would be tempted to go and do OnlyFans. That's not confusing to me.
I agree.
I'm like, who are all these guys who are spending billions of dollars on this stuff? Like, who are you? Why are you doing it? Like, what's going on?
I can say I've had people that just one person has spent over like $3K in 1 month.
Okay.
I'm actually thankful. I'm going to come back right to you. I'm actually thankful that there are sex workers out there to alleviate men from their situation if they can't get women in real life. I mean, there's men on this panel that don't have that problem.
It's a chicken and egg scenario as well, though, isn't it?
Go ahead.
Like, I don't believe that there's a guy out there who you couldn't build up to a man who can happily get a wife or get a wife. I mean, all of for however many decades and centuries, all sorts of guys. I mean, if you go out there in the real world, get off the internet and walk around, it's not like every guy who's in a relationship or every woman who's in a relationship is looking like some supermodel or some super high value man or whatever. Like, it's normal people all around the world. So I would push back on the idea that this is the best outlet for these type of men. I think actually that's like a massive cope, and you're taking an easy route out of, I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to fap on Pornhub or OnlyFans instead of building myself up into the man who can actually get a woman who looks like this in the real world. And that's where dudes' heads need to go at.
Of course.
If all your energy is going out on that, right, into the tissue as you look at your screen, then sorry to be crude, but you're not then putting that energy where it actually needs to be going.